So welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna. Well, first I'm not gonna answer my phone because it's spam. Lovely. Or a scam or something. I just know because if you're not gonna give me your caller ID, I don't need to talk to you. So in this video, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over the accelerator. It's an electronics accelerator for this kit. It's got this little piece right here that we'll do this way. So as the cable comes through this wheel, inside basically tells the controller to give it more electricity. It seems to me it's like some kind of potentiometer. So when you add more to it, the faster you're going to go. This needs to be bolted to a plate that's got to get welded on the frame, and that plate and frame is going to go close to where the driver's right leg would be underneath, so it's out of the way. And it's I mean, they call it a speed regulator. I think it's more of a, I mean, it is, but there's got to be like some kind of potentiometer in it to regulate how much voltage is going to the motor. Pretty little simple kit. It's all pre-wired. I mean, all the plugs are pretty much different, so it only fits into one plug. You can't put like this into something else, which is makes it a lot easier as well. There's a little cable guide on here that I'll wrap around the little groove in this disc and then hook into this hole right there. So when you're pulling when the cable gets pulled by your foot pushing forward, it'll go ahead and send electricity to the motor. So this is the plate that comes with this piece. It is pre-drilled, which is nice. So all you're gonna have to do is basically just weld it to the frame. You're also gonna have to figure out, okay, so if you mount it this way, which way the cables go, or if you mount it this way, which way the cable needs to go. So that's the big thing. You want this piece, this little notch, going towards the front wheels. So if that's the front of the go-kart, the wire is going to go towards the back. And that'll give it plenty of room right here across this plate to weld it onto the frame. Tack weld it. I mean, you're not going to weld it across the whole thing. Just weld it on. I mean, you can weld it across the whole thing if you want. I'm probably going to, and I'll do what's called a blend in, where I can weld, and when I grind it down, it'll blend into the frame. So yeah, pretty nice little pre-built piece. And again, just take your time. I would not plug this into anything yet. Again, tack weld it on, take this off, and then do the final weld, because you don't want this to overheat and melt what's ever inside, or melt the outside plastic, because this is a plastic case. It's not metal. So the motor control parts that come from Electro and Company, or Electro and Co. Still a tongue twister. They come with this basically braided wire. It is extremely long for what we're doing. You don't need this length, this much. And on the end is like this little ball. I don't know if we can put that in focus or not, but let's see. Maybe not. Okay. So this little ball in the end is what goes in this little notch over here. So basically, you'll put the ball in like so, pop the cable in, wrap it around, and then insert it inside that piece right there. So then when you hit the accelerator, it'll pull this cable back and forth, and that'll rotate this wonderful little speed controller, speed regulator, potentiometer. I mean, to me it's a potentiometer, you know. So, and you're gonna have to get it, you know, some kind of cutters to cut this down to the length you need. And I'll show you what I'm going to use. I'm probably going to use just some snips. Big heavy duty snips should be able to cut through this. It's pretty thin. And again, there's way more of this wire than you actually need to get from the pedal to this block. So there's that potentiometer, the speed controller right there. It's basically going to be underneath the driver's seat and their right leg. And then that wire and everything's going to come down this rail to this point right here, attach to this little clip. And from that clip, we'll go up to the pedal. Now, I'm sure somebody's going to say I'm mounting the spring wrong, and that's fine, because there's no actual drawings of where this spring actually goes in there. So I'm figuring it goes there from that point to that point. So when you push on the pedal, the spring will help bring it back up to the up position. But again, there's no picture or drawings on it, and everybody I talked to was like, oh, it's easy, it's self-explanatory. Well, yeah, everybody I talked to has built go-karts for years. This is the first one I'm ever building, so I don't know where anything actually goes yet. But this is going to stay here. So I did a quick weld of the plate. These bolts are going to use, they're going to use a 1/4 inch, actually no, 10 millimeter socket and a 5/32 Allen key. So that's 5/32. And underneath is a 10 millimeter socket locking nut. So basically use a 10 millimeter socket for it. And then that'll basically be there. And again, you want the wire that comes with it goes towards the back of the vehicle. So when the cable comes through and pulls this forward, it's going to tell the brain to give you more acceleration. Yeah, first time ever building a go-kart, first time ever building anything with a chain on it. So this is all new to me, and we're all going to be here to learn. So next I'm going to run the tube from here through up to the frame, up to the pedal with the wire in it. Haven't decided if how exactly I want it to run on that frame yet. I know the final will probably be like zip ties, industrial heavy duty black zip ties, in case we got to do any changes or anything. So again, we'll see what happens. What I'm going to do is install the wiring for the throttle to go back to the controller. Again, this is all mock-up. I'm sure somebody's going to come and tell me this is wrong, where the spring is laid out, but as of right now, I know it's bringing it back to the starting position is what I want. If this is wrong, I'm sure somebody's going to leave a comment somewhere in the description of what's going on with it. But, I mean, it's working for what I'm trying to do. So, there's that. Now, you're going to get this cable clamp that looks like this. It might come in a different color, maybe silver or black. It's got two little set screws on it. You're going to loop the cable through it, and then you're going to loop the cable through one of these holes on the accelerator. So, you're going to put this on the cable first, just like so, then pull the cable all the way through it. Okay, and let's let it rest there for now. Now I'm going to take the other end of the cable. I'm going to come through, I'll go through this one right here. I'm sure, again, somebody's going to tell me I'm doing it wrong. But, again, it's my build. I'm trying it out. This is, again, the first go-kart I have ever built. So, I'm not surprised somebody's going to have something to say about it. So what you want to do then is bring enough slack through where you're not turning the potentiometer or the speed controller. And now what you want to do is tighten these nuts. Yeah, these nuts. No, tighten this set screw here, and tighten this set screw here. Now make sure they're tight. It's interesting. Because what's going to happen is this is going to make it so the cable will not come undone. So So there you have that. And then when you pull this, the potentiometer on the other end should go forward and back. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Let's raise that a little bit so you can see what's going on. So you have the pedal here. The spring is coming down to this mounting point right here. You've got your cable with the cable tie. I ran through the little tube that comes with it. I zip tied it on multiple points. Again, this is a mock-up, so if I don't use zip ties or something else, that's fine. I can always cut the zip ties and throw them out. They're not really that expensive. And then now I'm come to the throttle controller. And then what happens is speed controller, throttle controller, pick a name. So then when I push the pedal, you see it moves forward and back. So that'll give me the foot pedal acceleration. And that's what we want. And then you're going to go from the wire to the back of the Go Kart. I'm going to definitely zip tie or cable clamp them on somehow. There's the nice big beefy motor. And that's the controller that's going to be behind the seat. So since I'm in the mock-up phase of the electronics, anything I plug in, I'm not going to leave it permanently. It's just going to be temporary. Now, the true moto is this control box that came with it. Right now I'm only using 2 of the bolts just to keep it in place. I bent the bracket so it fits on this frame. I didn't want to lay down horizontal behind the seat because there really wasn't that much space left. So I put it up like this to give a little more of an effect to it, a little more of a look. Also easier to get to if we need to later on. So it comes with this wire harness that has this big plug on one end and a little wire. This little wire is going to go to the plus of this controller. And you're going to use either a Phillips or you could use a socket or whatever size wrench that goes on here. I don't know yet, but I'll let you know. So basically you just plug that in and you can undo it if you have to. There's a little clip here to pop it out. And then on the other end of this wire harness, you've got 5 other plugs. Okay, now the beautiful thing about these 5 plugs is that they're all different. So you can't plug the wrong thing into the wrong plug. The only way you can is if you cut these ends off and then force it, or cut the ends off and rewire it, which I don't know why you'd want to do that. You don't need to do that. This is a very simple kit now. Again, I mean, I don't know how easy you can make this. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to actually, when I run this around and everything will be zip tied to the frame. The only other question is, which side do I want to run it? So, for example, I know that this is the controller here, so I got to be able to make it to there. So it's going to have to go through the seat like this, and then this will get plugged in here, and I'll zip tie it down. The other main plug you have to worry about is this plug. This is the battery plug. This is what you do to connect this to the battery. You've got a positive and negative. So it is labeled even on the plug right there, positive, negative. So the positive is going to go positive, the negative is going to go negative. Okay, you don't want to cross the wires. Just like Ghostbusters, don't cross the streams. So now we have this that's coming off the motor. I've left it connected and taped up from day one because I didn't need to get to it right away. So now I'm going to undo it, see everything looks inside. So, okay. So even though the wires that are coming from the motor are all the same color, at the end they color coded them with heat shrink. Now this is where I'm going to need a friend because I'm colorblind, so I don't know what these 3 colors are. I know there's a green, a blue, and a yellow. So to me, lightest color is yellow, and the other 2 I'll have to ask a friend, which is not a big deal. The only other thing is, how do I want to route these cables to get out of the way of the chain and all that other fun stuff with the motor. Then there's this multi-pin plug. It looks like it's 6 wires right here. That's going to come off of that wire harness. So, yep. There's a plug right here for the wire harness. Plug that in, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now, when we get this all wired up, it's going to be a fun little cool system. So now we're going to start mocking it up. First thing I want to do is take the main wire plug and plug that into right there. This is going to be for the positive. Make sure I can unplug this though, just make sure it comes out. Yeah, it's tight, but it'll definitely come out. There is a rubber gasket around it, so that also is helping it keep it on there. Snap it on. Now you're going to need an 8mm wrench or a Phillips screwdriver. I'm going to use a wrench. What we're going to do is I'm going to start with positive. And I'm going to just disconnect the positive, like so. And then I'm going to connect this little wire to the positive. I'm not putting it on all the way because, again, it's just a temporary thing right now. But at the same time, I can make it a little more permanent. I'm going to take this battery cable and go to the positive and the negative. So let's go with the positive. Okay, there's that. Now I'm going to connect the negative. So pretty much the only 3 main wire, the only wire, the 5 wires that are going to go here, 6 actually if you connect that one, is the negative, the positive, the green, the blue, and the yellow. The rest is all those predetermined plugs. Again, take your time. Just like so. Okay, so there's that one. Now we're going to do the next one, which I'm going to start with this one, which I've been told is the yellow, which is this cable right here. I really like the fact that everything is professionally terminated. It's all heat shrinked with the right color code. Really well done. So a neighbor of mine stopped by real quick, and he helped me label what each color was. So I put on a B, a Y, and a plus. I just took a Sharpie marker and labeled that way. Now there's no power to the system yet, so I'm not too worried about if I touch 2 together. Do not do this if there's power running to it. Make sure you have a socket or something where you don't touch the other one. You don't want to risk shocking yourself or electrocuting yourself or frying the system. Try and keep it always away from each other. You never know which power source is going to be hot, which is not. So currently right now the battery is not even anywhere near the system. It's not even connected at all. And then I'm just going to do them all. Also a quick note when you're doing this. Once you have it all connected and you got it powered up, do not, and I repeat, do not hit the accelerator right away. you want to go into the software of the controller and make some adjustments first, because it's not programmed for your system yet. So there we have it. We've got the black, the green, the blue, the yellow, and the positive. Again, I don't have any power yet to it. And then I got my 5/6 cable harness. Yep. So one of the big things is definitely do not just go ahead and hit the accelerator with this thing once you get it wired up. They don't want you to do that, because you could fry the system up. So do what they tell you to do and the thing will be great. So I'm going to take this one, it's from the motor, plug into the harness. Again, all of these can be unplugged as well. Nothing is a permanent connection. They all have these little tabs on it, so you can push the tab and pop it back out. I'm going to need that because, again, I haven't really wired anything correctly. I mean, haven't really ran the wires where I want them yet, because I need to zip tie everything down. Got to put the seat back in, things like that. And just for now, I'm going to pretty much leave all like these plugs and these switches. I'll plug them in, but I'm not going to mount them to anything yet because I haven't built that part of it yet. This is just to make sure the electronics are working. Get them up and running. Is that a... Nope, it's not a cap, is it? Okay. So now what you want to do is you want to find each one that correlates with each one. So this one goes to here. When it clicks, it's in. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it off to the side, away from the axle, because the axle will spin eventually. This is the speed controller one. I'm going to connect that in there. Okay. Got a couple other ones, little smaller ones. Let's see. This looks like a voltage reader. Has no throttle on or anything, so this has got to be a voltage. Nice little small plug. Again, find it on the... There you go. Again, it's really cool that it only plugs into what it needs to be plugged into. That's it. Now this is the switch I think is going to make this thing awesome as well. It's a forward and reverse switch. Forward, reverse. Again, just plug it in. Wait for the click. Check it, it's all nice and tight. I'm going to put it off to the side somewhere for right now. The brakes aren't even installed yet either. The battery's sitting here. That will be connected in a minute. And then we're going to go to the software and do what it says to do. So once you have everything connected, don't plug in the battery yet. Comes with this piece of paper and from TrueMoto for the controller, and you want to follow this piece of paper before you do anything next. So do not connect the power yet. Read this piece of paper, download their app. So basically what it says is your controller has not been programmed to work with your setup yet. Okay? Please turn on the controller. Do not twist the throttle. Open up the app on your phone. Then go into settings, let the controller know what setup you have. If you full send the throttle without doing this first, you will destroy the controller. So what they're saying is you want to program it before you just slam on the gas, because you will destroy the controller. I went ahead and downloaded the app first, because what I did. And we're going to go from there. So what I'm going to do is, under battery, I put the TrueMoto app. There's a True Map. It's now trying to scan it, but what I have to do, actually, I have to plug in the battery for it to scan it, because it's not going to find it otherwise. So let me go do that real quick. Bluetooth is off, so I got to turn Bluetooth on. Turn the Bluetooth on. Okay, it's scanning. controller is not showing up. Let's go into settings real quick. Go to connections, Bluetooth. I think that's it. Probably not. I'm gonna stop scanning. Supported. Wait 10 seconds to turn on your controller before connecting. Okay. Controller not showing up. So let me get out of that piece of software. Let me turn off my Bluetooth. Should be finding it. Turn the Bluetooth back on. I'm going to hit done. I'm going to open up the TrueMoto web page again. And now it's starting to scan. Controller not showing up. Apologies for inconvenience. Please turn your phone's Bluetooth on and off. We're actively working on a fix. Okay, Electrico. Did what everything it said to do. Why is it not showing up? So, stop scanning that. And, maybe in settings. Settings will show up once you connect to the controller. Thanks. Hide that. Let's go to Bluetooth. Scanning again. It's not finding it. So, maybe there's no power going to it. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? There is no power going to it, and I'll tell you exactly why. This is one of the cool things about the battery itself. So we'll go into the battery itself as well. The battery has its own on and off switch. Yep. Yeah, it does. Now the question is, well, okay. So what we want to do is, let me add this to it real quick. Done. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go into the battery first. Yeah, there we go. So now it's reading everything from the battery. And then go into BMS control, and you'll see that it says off charging, off for discharge. I did that as a safety feature. I want to turn the discharge on. And now that it's on, we should be seeing, when I open up the TrueMoto in about 10 seconds, it's going to start scanning, and there it is. It says noisy cricket. I don't know what that means, but we'll just click on it and see what happens. Noisy cricket. Okay. And it's going through everything right now. 79 volts. Okay, let's go into settings, see what happens. My vehicle is a cart. Okay. The battery is a 76 volt from with a 332 amps. Please update your controller's firmware. Okay, so I'm going to come back up and I'm going to update the firmware. It can take between 2 and 6 minutes. Okay, sure, let's do it. Might as well update it now, right? So I guess by the fact that it needs the firmware to tell it what kind of vehicle it is, that makes sense. So you just don't want to go and hit the accelerator and fry the controller. It's actually pretty quick. We're at 28% right now of updating the firmware. So to me, that's a smart way of doing it, because they don't want to build as one for each type of product. They build one, and then it's adaptable to different products. So it's adaptable to a motorcycle, to a quad, to a Go Kart, whatever it is you need. We're at about 55% right now update. That's pretty quick if you ask me. So again, I've not hit the accelerator at all. I'm waiting for this update, which is now 70%. That's pretty cool. And so, yeah, I mean, you can see it's doing its thing. 80%, pretty quick, nice. The update of the firmware is definitely to help out the fact of that it's a go-kart, not a motorcycle or a dirt bike or whatever other vehicles they have in it. It looks like they got a Razor, a quad, ETM, some other stuff, a Suron. So it's adaptable to a bunch of other stuff. Now, I wonder if that means that if we take it out of this and put it into a different vehicle, can we change it later on? Or does it have to be what it is? Now, you're going to hear some clicking noises here and there. I've heard a couple clicks already. I guess that's just trying to tell the motor what's going on. I don't know. There's my neighbor with his really loud motorcycle. Yeah, very loud. So now let's see what else is going on here. Noisy cricket. Okay, I guess save it. What's the arrow? No vehicle, battery, motor selected and saved. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything on other? Oh, the motor. Okay. So basically we're going to go to cart, which is what it is. I guess you can change it once it's all set up in the software. I'm going to scroll down. It's a 76 volt 32 amp hour battery. Let's see, just keep on scrolling down. Let's see what else this thing's got on it. The motor. EC4P. Let's see if it's written on it real quick.